Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about a famous legend that I've heard since I was a child here in my city town. This is so famous, and when we hear about that legend, we feel scary because this is a bad story, a sad story, and it is so popular here. Its name is the Weeping Woman, La Llorona in Spanish. The Weeping Woman. This is a story that the old ones have been telling to children for hundreds of years, and it is a sad tale, but it lives strong in the memories of the people, and there are many who swear that this is true. Long years ago, in a homo-tiller village, there lived a fine-looking girl named Maria. Some say she was the most beautiful girl in the world, and because she was so beautiful, Maria thought she was better than everyone else. As Maria grew older, her beauty increased, and her pride in her beauty grew too. When she was a young woman, she would not even look at the young men from her village. They weren't good enough for her. When I marry, Maria would say, I will marry with the most handsome man in the world. And then, one day, into Maria's village rode a man who seemed to be just the one she had been talking about. He was a dashing young ranchero, the son of a wealthy rancher from southern plains. He could ride like a command. In fact, if he owned a horse and it grew tame, he would give it away and go rob a wild horse from the plains. He thought it wasn't mainly to ride a horse if it wasn't half wild. He was handsome, and he could play the guitar and sing beautifully. Mary made up her mind that was the man for her. She knew just the tricks to win his attention. If the ranchero spoke when they met one of the pathway, she would turn her head away. When he came to her house in the evening to play his guitar and serenade her, she wouldn't even come to the window. She refused all these costly gifts. The young man fell for her tricks. That healthy girl, Maria, he said to himself, I know I can win her heart. I swear I'll be married with her. And so everything turned out as Maria planned. Before long, she and the ranchero became engaged, and soon they were married. At first, things were fine. They had 2 children, and they seemed to be a happy family together. But after a few years, the ranchero went back to the wild life of the prairies. He would leave town and be gone for months at a time. And when he returned home, it was only to visit his children. He seemed to care nothing for the beautiful Maria. He even talked of setting Maria aside and marrying a woman of his own heavenly class. As proud as Maria was, of course, she became very angry with the ranchero. She also began to feel anger toward the children because he paid attention to them but just ignored it to her. One evening, as Mary was strolling with her 2 children on the Saturday Panther near the river, The ranchero came in a carriage. An elegant lady sat on the seat beside him. He stopped and spoke to her children, but he didn't even look at Maria. He went to hers and up the street. When she saw that, a terrible rage filled Maria, and it all turned against her children. And although it is sad to tell, the story says that in her anger Maria seized her two children and threw them into the river. They fall into the river. But as they disappeared down the streams, she realized what she had done. She ran down the bank of the river, reaching out her arms to them, but they were long gone. The next morning, a traveler brought a word to the villages that a beautiful woman lay dead on the bank of the river. That is where they found Maria, and they laid her to rest where she had fallen. But the first night Maria was in the grave, the villagers heard the sound of a crying down by the river. It was not the wind, it was the Yaruma crying, "Where are my children?" And they saw a woman walking up and down the bank of the river, dressed in a long white robe, the way they had dressed Maria for burial. On many a dark night they saw her walk the river bank and cry for her children, and so they no longer spoke of her as Mary. They called her La Llorona, the weeping woman, and by that name she is known to this day. Children are warned not to go out in the dark, for La Llorona might snag them and never return them. For that reason, that woman cried and cried, because she wanted to have her children again. But as I said, this is a very bad story, because she doesn't have them, and maybe she isn't gonna have them never. Thus the story about La Llorona, or the weeping woman, that I have heard in my city town since I was a child. This is a bad story, and this is a famous legend. Thank you so much.